All right, everyone. We are at game 2 of our exciting finals of the Jurassic Rhythm Cup. I am here with I'm All N for this exciting conclusion.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Phone is poised to win, or if Nathan pulls us out, we'll be at game 3. Is that correct?
That's correct. The first one was a amazingly fast seed. It was a Magus Castle Go mode that Phone ended up taking. It was a very exciting match, and we know both of these players can produce solid results. So this could go either way between Nate or between Phone, and are anxious to kind of see how this one turns out.
Yeah, and we are off to the races here. Let's set the timer. There we go.
Okay. A frog and a chrono start. So just to set the table of anybody who hasn't been around here for Jets of Time, so we're starting with 2 random characters. Our first part of the seed is going to be doing some shopping, getting some tabs, maybe looking for a few chests of gear. What do you think about Chrono and Frog for a starting duo?
So we have a dual swordsman. We have a little heal covered. This is a powerhouse, I'm not gonna lie, especially because there's a lot of great chrono gear lying around usually. But now that we have chrono, we probably won't see any rainbows. Just gonna curse them right now, right after that.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of people may choose to go to the desert early because there's some good loot there, and see if they can pick up a sword for Frog or a sword for Kurano. So we'll see if either of our runners does that. Looks like power tabs rolled +2, which is not great, but they'll be hungry for tabs, trying to feed them to either one of these characters, whoever they decide to keep.
Yeah, and I bet for both runners, they'll keep at least one of them, but I'm gonna say one of them will drop out. One of these characters will drop out for each runner by the time we get our whatever solution they want for the end game, whoever we find.
So so both players are starting their opening route. Looks like Nate has started the bridge, so that's common.
Yep, so
Things
there's
a lot of runners will do is they'll stop in there so they can come back to it later.
yeah, if you set that flag, you can go to the castle anytime to see what the chef has for you. And we're getting a carpenter check on Nate's side, so that's one of the easier free items to get. Key items, I should say. And if you look down below each runner, you'll see all those pretty little icons. Top row is characters, but everything else are key items you can find throughout the game.
Okay, Carpenter is going to be a hero medal.
And we have a frog to use it. It's incredible.
That'll be a nice plus towards keeping Frog in our party. And plus, when they go back to 600, I expect they'll check the woods. Turning in the hero medal will give them another key item or another item check. So we'll see how that one turns out.
Yeah,
Magic tabs are +3.
I was gonna say the frog burrow will also show us who we can get for trading in the sword, which doesn't always come into play, but you never know.
Now, last time both players did, when they got their Magus Go mode, they did go get Ayla from the burrow. It was a big addition to both of their teams last time. So Nate now has picked up the, or they stopped in Snail Stop. They did not buy it, but they now know that the Snail Stop has the Prism Shard.
Yeah, and so he didn't buy it?
Did not buy it.
Okay. But again, good to know. We don't have Marl, so there's nothing we can really do with it at the moment. It makes sense to me to just put that in the back pocket and forget about it. Not literally though, because we have seen seeds like that where someone left a key item on Snail Stop that would have given the go mode.
We have a little bit of difference right now. Nate is going to do his initial grind, go into the forest. So without a Magus or an Ayla, this is the more common grind to get the first 2 techs and a few levels. And Phone then is going to the burrow, and we see Marl. Do you like Marl or Marley?
In my head, it's always been Marl. I know some people like Marley, and I kind of get it. Like maybe it's because of the character limitation, they were trying to go for Marley. But you know, there's no one talks in this game, so my headcanon growing up was Marl.
I did see a Leap Slash for Frog, so that's a good starting tech for him. And a Cyclone for Chrono. But again, either one of these characters, to make them more effective, we're going to be needing gear at some point. Now we are using a flag that is gear rando. So one of the things that does, among other things, is changes the pool of available weapons for each character. And they can roll plus or minus effects. Plus effects, will add positive things, and minus will take things that are good and remove some of the positive effects.
We can also get some really unique gear because some of the wackier ultimate weapons, like Crisis Arm or Wonder Shot, those effects of those weapons can be rolled onto other characters' weapons. You might get a Wonder Bow instead of a regular Rainbow for Chrono.
Or a Crisis Sword, I think that one's a fun one if you combine it with something like Fire 2.
Yeah, that will be crazy to see as long as we can maintain. Crisis Effect is a multiplier based on the last digit of your health. So right now, if Frog had it on Nate's side, he'd be doing 0 damage. So it's a double-edged sword. Or a D10-sided sword, I should say. And we have
now both players are in the Cathedral now.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm restreaming this too, and these pixels are bugging me. There we go. And it's a Robo! Honestly, I love Robo. I think he was in my end of game party the first time I beat this game.
I love this party too because I always feel like around the time in vanilla that you're going to Magus Castle, like this is the first triple tech you get with triple raid. So, great physical party, good for fighting Magus in that vanilla spot, especially Robo with a heal beam. We'll see if this is a team worth sticking with. And now that we have Robo, we know that all of our quest characters are found at this point, because Robo will unlock the desert check. Not a great tech list so far from any of the characters we have. Chrono picking up an Aeon Blade +3 will kind of help move his techs along, or his damage along.
Yeah, definitely won't hurt. Did we see someone at the burrow?
We saw that Marl was in the burrow.
That's right, okay.
I missed what the item was, but I have a suspicion it was the Grand Leon for Frog, because Phone was doing some gnarly damage with Frog just a little bit ago.
Okay, that's right. It's about to yell at our tracker.
Although I did not see Nate go to the burrow yet, so I don't think he knows that Marl is there, or that he hasn't done the check yet.
Okay, and we see Nate going back to Cathedral here, so he is fishing for that fourth character that way. Another fun flag
we know then
we
is
have here
then
is
we're left
boss
with...
rando. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so we know that we're left with Luca Ayla and Magus, and for a lot of people, like none of those characters are a bad character to add to your party. So if they're looking to drop somebody, we'll see who they're looking to drop and based off who we get back there.
Yeah, and Phone with the Grand Leon and Hero Metal Frog, I think will end up keeping his frog, most likely, because that's just a huge power spike to have so early. But if Nate never got back to the burrow, there's a chance he gets his 4th character and drops frog. But we'll see how this plays out. But yeah, so when we get to back Cathedral, we'll see our first instance of boss rando. So this is normally Yakra back here. Semi-annoying tutorial boss. Instead, we'll have who knows what kind of boss back here with Yakra's health, basically. So when boss rando switches a boss round, you don't have to worry about fighting Black Tyranno with 10,000 health in the back Cathedral. You'll face someone with about 600-ish health.
It's interesting here that both players are going to the back of the Cathedral.
Well,
so
it's the finals.
It's sticking to both of them.
They gotta do something to shake things up and, you know, earn their title. It is funny that they're both doing it, though. I would not have called that.
Yeah, I would have thought one of them might have been a little, willing to play it a little more risky and loose. We get a Flea. Now it could be Flea or Flea Plus.
And you really hope for the Flea Plus, who's a bit easier. Oh, it's Vanilla Flea.
Now with this team, Flea has raised magic defense, but does not have any special defense in terms of physical attacks. So this is a good, team to just, beat them to a pulp. And with Frog doing 400 damage on Leap Slash, it only is going to take one more hit after this for Nate.
Yeah, we're not too worried about this fight then. And there we go. It was that easy.
The one you want to be worried about with Flea is the stare, which can hit your entire party as a counterattack, but that turned out not to be a concern for Nate. All of the bosses in this spot are usually pretty squishy, so nothing that's too concerning.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Nate turn in that 4th character. Also, we have Phone's audio up because he is up 1 on this series, even though right now Nate seems to be racing through. Oh, but Phone stopped at the burrow, so you can't really say anyone's ahead at this point. Ooh, and Ayla! Do we like to see her?
I think we like to see her, especially since Frog has Leap Slash. If we get lucky, we can have an Ayla with a triple kick, and we can be doing some serious damage with drop kick early in this seed. Chrono.
We're booting Chrono immediately. I love to see it. Nate also took time to rename Ayla to Kino, her lover in 65 million BC.
I don't know much about Kino, but everyone tells me he's kind of a dummy.
He's a lovable oaf.
Okay. So once both players get out of the Cathedral, get their character, then I think we'll start to see, what's the next move for both of them. Nate's gonna go here to Denadoro. I don't know if he's going to climb the mountain or if he's just going to do this first fight. It's a good one to get a couple TP, and especially after getting a new character to your party, kind of brings them up a little quicker.
I wouldn't be surprised if this goes a full, just clear out Denadoro, because you'll get plenty of tech points and try to open up the seat a little bit. Ideally hoping for a pendant or a gate key. The bright side is with Nate's party, only Frog's the only one who needs his magic unlocked. Ayla and Robo can both get as many tech points as they want because they're not limited by seeing Spectio first. And Ceres Rose in chat, yes, we are winning. Just don't know who yet.
Let's
And
see
I
if
will
Phone
say,
makes the same move and takes out Chrono.
yep, okay, we have identical parties, probably because of magic being unlocked, and for Phone, we think has the Grand Leon. They menu too fast, I can't see what Frog had equipped. Oh no, he didn't. He was putting up those damage numbers.
Just with the hero medal?
Yeah.
I still don't think Nate has checked, done the hero medal turn in.
No, I don't think so. And Phone taking a second to get Chrono's Blade off of him to sell it later, I'd imagine. So Chrono is basically done on Phone's side for sure at this point. Nate's gonna check the bridge item. We'll get to know that very shortly here. Come on, no jerky, no jerky. Oh, did not wait long enough downstairs, so it's gonna cost him. Phone's gonna go check what the prism shard is. Or is he just getting loot?
So this is something they did in their first race, is turn in the prism shard, go check out the basement, and even if you don't have them on your party, you can see what they're supposed to get from this check. And the basement has great loot. So got a green dream, a white mail, and it's the ruby knife. So even if we don't have Marl in our party, we can know that if we were to get her, we would get the ruby knife. And Nate
is a piece of go mode.
Nate skipped out of the bridge because it was the moonstone. So yeah, let's talk about our go modes. You know, while we're talking about different items and key checks. So first go mode is a Magus Castle go mode. So in order to get that, you need the character Frog, and then both pieces of the broken Mazimune. So you take those pieces and forge them in 1000 AD, and then complete Magus's castle. That will take you to Antiquity, to the Ocean Palace. Complete the Ocean Palace, and you will fight Lavos. That's go mode number 1. That's usually the longest go mode, but it doesn't require as many pieces in order to get it.
And notably, that's how Phone beat round 1 of this finals match.
Yes, both of these players are very good at Magus's castle. If they're going to get it, they can do it quickly. Then the Tyranno go mode is if we get the Dreamstone, the Ruby Knife, and the Gate Key. The Gate Key will open up the chest in Medina, or the closet in Medina to prehistory, and then we can complete the Tyranno layer, which takes us to the Ocean Palace and fight Lavos. So those are the 2 Lavos go modes. The Tyranno go mode is considered one of the faster go modes. And then the third one is Black Omen go mode, where we have the pendant, which we turn in 1000 AD, unlock the prison sequence. To get to the future, we turn in the clone and the chrono trigger, and we will climb Death Peak to open the Black Omen. And at the end of Black Omen is Zeal 2, which is considered the final boss, even though it's not Lavos. To kind of make the go modes equal, Black Omen is the other option. So Zeal 2 is the final boss in that go mode. So knowing that the Ruby Knife is back there, we'll see if we get other pieces of the Tyranno Go mode, if we get the gate key and the Dreamstone, then that's a known item, and that could lead us down that Go mode. So we'll kind of see. But in order to do that, we need both pieces of the sword to get Moral from the Burrow. So it's a Go mode behind a Go mode.
Right, so to do that, you have to forge the sword, and at that point, you have Go mode. And you're choosing to go to the Burrow, get Moral, go to the Prism Shard quest. Ideally, have your Dreamstone and Gate Key already, we're assuming for this scenario. So do Prism Shard, then go do Tyranno Lair and Antiquity to Ocean Palace, versus just taking the sword and going right into Magus Castle and trying to beat the game. I'm not saying no one would do it, it's just, it's a gamble, and I don't know how much time it actually saves.
It's always a debate item, is do you look for any Go modes after you get the Magus Castle Go mode? And like so many things in Jets, it always just depends. A lot depends on how many checks are left, and whether those checks lead to more checks, like if there's more Toma's Pops and Moonstones and those type of things that only just lead to more progression. It's probably more risky. But if you know where the other Go mode item is, or you have a certainty, then sometimes it's worth it. So both players are in Hecarim's Cave right now. This is a good spot for tech points. Each fight is around 20 to 25 tech points. And so that's really building up Robo and Ayla at this point, getting some levels and progressing them through their tech list. The only AoE we have is Laser Spin from Robo, which is good enough. It's still not great.
It is enough. It is technically magic damage, and the element is shadow, so not a lot of things resist it. Especially in these places where you're not supposed to have any shadow magic at this point in the game. So you could do worse. It would be nice to see some tailspin action if Ayla could get that, but I think her next tech is triple kick. Odds of her being useful through these hallway fights is very slim.
So there's so many flags in play right now, so much randomized that, forgot to mention too that we have healing items randomized. So instead of your vanilla mid tonic is 200, it looks like mid tonics rolled 280. So the HP and MP healing items will roll up or down. Revives and Lapises will roll separate from that, and we could get either a Lapis that heals HP or a Lapis that heals MP. So it looks like it has been favorable so far. Now, a big one of that is whether, what ethers rolled, because if you get a low ether roll, it takes 2 or 3 of them to replenish, a strong attack, or if you get a high ether roll, then it makes your life, much easier.
Yeah, I remember watching a scene where ethers rolled 7, and you could see both runners struggling with that, trying to get through the earlier fights, especially when MP is low.
If they roll 7, you need a
What?
lot of them.
Did Phone just...
Phone saw
Oh,
a Terra Mutant at the end
okay.
of Hecarim here, and a Terra Mutant with this team is not good. We do not have sufficient magic to clear a Terra Mutant, even though that spot is only about 2,100 HP. That would be a very, very long fight. So this is going to be a conundrum here for these runners. There's still options of the desert, and there's Denadoro Mountains open. So
Are these
this
the only
may be a
ones
bit of
open
a
to us at the
block.
moment?
I believe so.
Denadoro, desert. We know the bridge is useless right now because it's just a moonstone. So yeah, I guess without a progression, we don't know what's going on. Oh, but
And
Nate
without
is gonna
magic unlocked,
try. We'll see
we'll
if he
see
can
how
get
this
through
goes.
that.
I mean, Laser Spin was only doing about the text blocks is blocking. I think he saw something he didn't like. Now he's out.
Yeah. It was healing the bottom part for 5, so it can't be doing much. Oh, phone bringing Chrono back in the party. Over Frog. Don't hate that choice, especially going to the desert. It might be more useful.
So they noticed that with Cyclone and Laser Spin, they have the dual tech Rocket Roll. So I'm not sure if that's going to do enough damage to clear enemies in one turn, but maybe we can get by with 2.
Yeah, I don't even remember using Rocket Roll.
So in vanilla, you might have gotten it in the future once you add Robo to your party. Might be using it through the factory. Not a super strong move, but it is a full screen.
Okay, fair enough. And Ether's rolled vanilla 10, so that's not bad. It looks like Nate is running
Leon
from these
Kennedy in
fights.
chat is saying that the hero medal turn-in the burrow was Thomas Pop. So we do have that as a additional item as well.
So we can unlock the Giant's Claw. Which would be a bit of a stretch for these runners of this level, but it wouldn't be impossible. Just like Desert's not impossible. Just depends on what boss is here.
Right, with
guessing,
boss rando, it can either work for or against you. So if they get something that only takes needs physical damage, they've got a perfectly good physical team. It's really that Terra Mutant is just going to be a block until they get something stronger magic.
But we do. I was about to say, if we see something like Son of Sun, the gambling boss, we're not in any trouble. As long as you have a little bit of luck, and ideally some fire resist gear, which I don't think we have at the moment, but it's not end of the world. And Nate gets the fire choice right away, I think. You run this game. What is your go-to fire when you see Son of Sun? Like, this left is 1, right is 4.
So I move the cursor 1 to the left, and I try that. I move the cursor 1 to the right, and I try that. I move the cursor 2 to the left, and I try that, and I move the cursor 2 to the right. I always don't want to do more than 2 cursor moves, if I can. It's hard enough making sure you don't drop an input.
Spoken like a true speedrunner.
So all we got to do here is count to 10. As easy as that sounds.
Well, those attacks are nothing to sneeze at, but with Robo, decent heal, we can get through this pretty safely. Now, I know it's easy as counting to 10, but I did lose count. I don't know where we're at. Hopefully it'll be over soon.
No idea. Now, one thing you can do, I don't remember if Ayla has Charm yet, but once you have your 10 and Son of Sun is losing its fire, you can Charm it without a counterattack.
And I know it was on the list, I just don't know if Ayla got it yet.
No,
doesn't look like it.
Doesn't
yeah.
look like it. But we're through this boss. It's 4,000 experience and 40 tech points, so it's good. Another white mail. White mails are good. That's endgame quality armor. So we've got a couple of those. The gear is is being okay. It's being favorable.
Yeah, and a little star scythe for some extra money. Never hurts.
There's a red mail that was picked up, so could have made that fight even easier.
Of course, you get it after the fight. Or just forget to equip it before checking what boss it is. Phone's
Phone
gonna
is
get
running up
his
to check the bridge. I'm
the depressing bridge
imagining
check.
they're not going to keep this.
And that Iron Suit +3 is not worth keeping either.
More red mails. This shop in Fiona's Shrine is guaranteed to have lapises. We did roll lapises for HP, not for MP. And phone is resetting out of bridge, which was understandable.
Yeah, and did wait long enough to get the item in one try, so that is a little time save over Nate. Now, I bet phone comes here. Yeah, he's here to full clear Denadoro. We'll get to see the item up top, and I'm really hoping for gate key or pendant would be great.
And from the shrine was the trigger.
Oh, so then I do hope for a pendant here. Help the runners out a little bit, give them some direction.
So our available checks are whittling down, and at some point, a gate key or a pendant is going to be necessary. It seems like.
Yeah, Hecarim, Denadoro, and Giant's Claw. One of them has to have the gate key or pendant. Otherwise, we'll be locked out of. Logically, that has to be the case. Two Domo pieces?
For people who aren't familiar with Chrono Trigger, all the enemies are generally on the screen, or you run into what's called ambush encounters. But you'll see here, both players, very experienced here, they're running through this and making it look easy, skipping many fights along the way. Actually, we are almost perfectly synced up at this point. I love it when that happens.
They're on the same ladder at the same time.
Yeah, every time you see them move to one side of the screen or hug a wall, a lot of times that's skipping an encounter. Like Nate's going to do this skip right here, go straight across using that wall, hug this other side there. Oh, Nate got into an encounter there, but this is one of the best places to learn some early encounter skips.
Hey, did you know
just
mountains are
fun.
nice?
Mountains are nice, and for a +3 tab, they're beautiful.
Well, I don't know who the real magic user is going to be on either team at this point. I guess it goes on Frog, or on Nate's side. Or, sorry, on the phone side probably goes on Frog, on Nate's side probably goes on... Could go Robo or Frog for the heal. In fact,
Another
maybe that's
benefit
the way
of
we get through Hecarim, is Magic Tab one of these guys up. Or I guess, no, you Magic Tab Robo so his laser spins actually hurt the mutant.
It could be. That's a challenge here. We just have a lot of uncertainty. If we get a tailspin with Ayla, the tailspin scales wonderfully to Ayla's magic damage. I mean, she doesn't have much, but if some players do really like giving her a magic boost because tailspin will increase significantly.
Yeah, and if we end up in the Black Omen go mode, that's great for the scouter fight on the elevator, where you need non-elemental screen clears to get through it. Oof. The damage on phone side is crazy. It was 1200 on poor Massa.
For
Or
both
Mew. I can't
characters,
tell them apart.
I don't know that I would be able to tell you. But for both players, picking up Ayla has been a huge boost. You know, now that they can do drop kick. If neither of them did the back of the Cathedral, this would be difficult.
Yeah.
Nate doing even more, doing 1700.
Now, Rust Tyranno here is interesting because he specifically gets a big HP boost on whatever spot he's in if he rolls it, because he does nothing except count down to big attack. So it's just a DPS race, and if you fail, it hurts. But as long as you can hit your damage numbers, it's not a problem.
If I remember right, I might be wrong, so this spot is about a 4000 HP spot. It's pretty high HP, but the Restreamer has about a 75% bump in HP, like you said. So we could be looking at like a 6,000 to 7,000 HP Restreamer.
Yeah, but the damage numbers are fine as long as, I'm guessing Chrono's gonna be Alchemist in this fight, these two going. Yep, dropping a full ether on Ayla, not messing around on phone side, as Nate joins the fray.
It's interesting how this seed has, you know, with the challenge of having the Terra Mutant at Hecarim, it's really pushed the runners into identical paths.
Yeah, this is like when you have a bad DM just railroading you to what they want to do.
And Nate finishing his fight with the Restreamer, so we are really neck and neck, and I don't know of much difference right now that I can identify between runners, other than I still don't think Nate checked the burrow.
And so I guess Phone is a little bit ahead in that regard. As Pendant, okay, that's progress. We can go to the future. And we have Chrono, so we could free Fritz, and without being altruistic, we will get the mid-ether payoff if we want it. And where is Phone going? I think this is a Giant Claw unlock before going to the Prison Break. I don't think he's going to Giant's Claw. I think he's going to go to the future.
I'm curious, because he might just want to avoid the future if he thinks he can get a Tyranno Go mode, or if, you know, since we don't know where any of the sword pieces are we? So I'm kind of wondering if he's just avoiding future right now and saying, I'm gonna take my chances trying to get a Magus Castle Go mode or get a Tyranno Go mode.
I always hope for some divergence that lets us see two different Go modes, but we'll see how this plays out. Oh, okay, you called it. Phone did go to Giant's Claw. Like you said, avoiding the future, because the prison sequence itself doesn't do anything for you except burn about 5-10 minutes, and give you future access. And with this team, I would want to see magic unlock sooner than later, but with the future, you have to go through the factory, which is a very slow way to unlock your magic.
So yeah, I think we kind of talked about it quickly, but you know, let's check that again. So like with any of the normal magic characters. They require to go to the end of time to talk to Specchio to have their magic unlocked. Ayla, being a non-magic character, she has all her tech list open. So our only two ways to do that are to get the gate key, which we can unlock the end of time and talk to Specchio, or we can do the future, but to get to the end of time we have to do the factory, and so that puts the end of time 2 whole dungeons away going in the future. So it's going to take time if Nate decides to go that way and says magic is important to unlock, so I need to go do it.
Yeah.
Phone got a White Rock Plus, which it looks like the plus rolled was a shield.
Not the worst add-on. It's nothing to write home about, considering all the other gear we've gotten so far.
Phone's going to take a few rubble fights from the look of this.
See, I don't know if I would do this, considering I'm pretty sure Chrono and Frog have all their tech points, so this is just for Ayla's sake. I would at least swap Robo in for it, or at least make it a little more useful. Especially because these fights are a gamble. You might not be able to hit it enough before it runs away.
So let's talk about what the tournament has been. It's been a single elimination 16-player tournament. This is the finals. It is a best of 3 right now. In the prior match, Phone took the victory, so it is 1-0 for Phone. So each of these players, came through 3 rounds to get to this finals. It's been quite a entertaining set of matches, and we know both of these players are very good. So
it's been a very thrilling tournament. A lot of great runners been through. You ran afoul of Jazer early, but I'm sure you still had fun.
I still had fun. I think that's just indicative. We had a lot of good new players and a lot of good veterans in this tournament, and new players have been picking up left and right.
That's thanks partially to our
progress.
Gato Cups and other training arcs, where if you come join the Discord, anyone out there can get trained and start running today with the help of mentors from the community. So please join our Discord if you're interested in running the game. Casually is welcome too. That's what I do. I've played a few seeds now. I don't want to tell you my times, but they are not competitive. But I had fun. Hecarim's in the wrong cave. Can you believe this?
Yeah, he's in a brown cave instead of a blue cave. Maybe he painted the walls. So this is...
Yeah.
Chrono
has lightning.
It has lightning, but it was a 167 damage lightning. This is very similar to Terra Mutant in that it's... this is going to be a long fight if Phone decides to stick this out. On the other side, we have Nate seeing Dalton Plus in the Dragon tank spot, and nobody really likes Dalton Plus. He's fast, he counters all your moves, and he can really do damage. I think Nate's going to have a better time here though with Dalton, with those 1800 damage drop kicks, and he's going to make short work of it. So when Dalton counters, he'll counter with an opposite element, but with a physical attack like drop kick, he'll counter with Iron Orb, which at the very least won't kill you.
A relatively safe fight for this party. No surprise that Nate was able to get through and will get his future access.
The phone is going to continue to grind lightning against Hecarim, and this will take time, but see how it goes. Even drop kick, Hecarim only vulnerable to magic. Drop kick only doing 42 damage. It's just gut wrenching.
There's not much you can really do except slog through. Definitely a lot of sunk cost going on here because Phone has backed out a Hecarim and probably doesn't want to. Hecarim Cave, sorry, and probably doesn't want to do that here. Can avoid it because it's possible. It's just slow.
One of the first things Nate is doing in the future is, so once you get to the future, there is a flag in Jets called, I think it's called Fast Pendant, but when you get to the future, your pendant is automatically charged. And so he's taking the chance to loot these back rooms in these two domes. I saw a blue mail +3. That is a very good piece of armor.
Yeah, immunity or it absorbs water, and whatever else it added can only help you too.
I do think this is.
Okay, he just went for one item. I think last time he went for a few in there. Oh nope, yeah, this is the loot cycle, yeah.
Yep, this lab 32. All of this is good loot. Not end game loot, but it's definitely worth checking out. Let's see. So Nate's coming into Protodome. There'll be another character here. Now we know it's either going to be Luca or Magus.
I think either option is good here, because Luca is our powerhouse. No one hates having her. We still need magic unlock, but at least we have that ability. And if it's Magus, it's the same deal. You could actually run the Ayla Robo Magus party and never worry about unlocking magic again.
That could be a really interesting move. So let's see. So again, anytime you see players doing something odd with movement, it's usually to avoid a fight. So by walking there, he avoided the 4 robot fight, and we get a Magus. So
I think you mean Kagus?
Kagus. I must have had a mispronunciation.
Yeah. On the phone side, he's been changing it. Also, it's one letter and then Eno. Which I want to say, this is really funny because in the race time chat before the game started, Phone said to Nate, "Don't waste a bunch of time renaming your characters." And he said, "Okay, LMAO." And they're both doing it.
Nate running into a Giga Mutant in the Sun Palace spot.
Now this is Doom. Magus has Dark Matter. We're fine. We could definitely run back to Hecarim with this party now.
Right, so I would say advantage Nate right now, because now all these bosses that are really locked behind needing magic, he's got an answer for.
So I think Game 3 is looking more likely at the moment. I don't know what could be in Giant's Claw that gives Phone back all this time. Except, I guess, Gate Key?
Gate Key would be a very interesting one. And it's possible.
Yeah, that would unlock
will it
magic right away.
Will it benefit him from all this time, spending trying to beat Hecarim here? Don't know yet.
Yeah, I forgot to check the time when he started, but it is been a minute. Oh, I realize I've had the timer hit this whole time. So bringing that back in. That's what I get for reusing an old tracker.
So when fighting a multi-part boss, using a spell like Dark Matter is an advantage because the HP is split into two pieces, roughly. So with Giga Mutant, the pieces are roughly equal. In the boss spot HP, usually the most important piece or pieces will have that bulk of HP. So Dark Matter is a strong attack because not only is it Max's strongest spell, it's attacking both pieces, and so it's effectively doing double damage towards that spot HP. He's got the clone. So, am I correct then that Nate is in go mode?
You'll love to see it.
So wow, this really made a difference of going to the future instead of trying one more check in the present.
That means we will be seeing a Black Omen. And yeah, Nate is rushing to get that started.
So around this time too, a lot of time, oh, phone did it. Phone did it. It is done. It is finished.
The brute force. You know, I hope we get something worth it here.
A bent hilt.
I hate to say it,
I think I
but
can
this
say
is
with
Nate's race to lose. Like, Phone is playing from behind here.
So at around the 50-minute mark, a lot of times asking myself, you know, am I behind? And it's always hard to answer that question, and it depends so much on the sequence of things. So now Phone is going to do the desert boss. They still have to do that. And you know, so if you're a runner on either side, one of the things you know is you know that Terra Mutant was in Hecarim Cave. You're sure both people saw it. What you don't know is if there's anything behind it, and if that's something you're missing, or they were able to push past it, or you know, grind a lightning one against a Terra Mutant. You never know if they got that crucial piece. Now, sometimes you can tell, well, if I had to do this, they had to do it too. And that can put you in a okay feeling spot. But I don't think Nate is going to, you know, save himself any or afford himself any extra time just by getting a go mode at this point. He's gonna rush. He's gonna go as fast as he can. And from, you know, what I'm guessing is he's not gonna do factory to unlock magic for Frog. He's just gonna go thinking a drop kick and a Magus is gonna carry him through the Omen.
And it very well could. That's enough damage. We have great gear. You can buy stuff at the new shop in Black Omen. Like, I don't know what else we're missing.
Some of the fights might be a little slow. A gold stud is going to be a great addition for Magus. You know, Dark Matter is only costing 5. So there might be some things that are a little slow, but it might just be fine taking it. Black Hole can be very useful in the Omen because it does non-elemental. So if he gets Black Hole for Magus, that can take care of some of those fights that he doesn't really have the right elemental damage to do.
Yeah, some of the scatter fights are still going to give him trouble. But at least in his head, he knows that his opponent's going to have the same struggle. Based on what the seed's been giving them. Oh, a mud imp? At the shell spot, or lava spawn. That'll be fun to see what corpse is here to climb up on. I've never seen this here. Wow, that was fast. And it dropped a Mega Elixir, which is very important for the Zeal 2 fight.
Yes, that's going to be very nice for safety later. The Mud Imp in vanilla is usually a pretty difficult spot. You know, you could do different strategies, take out the beast first before the imp loses its defense. But in Jet, the scaling isn't, you know, maybe needs a little bit more HP on the Mud Imp. That a lot of times we just end up one-shotting it with a very strong magic attack.
Yeah, but at least Quinn will get his Chrono Trigger from this, and probably smack himself a little bit. I don't know if he had the Chrono Trigger, if he would have been more pressured to go to the future. I mean, no, he definitely would have been. If he had just done this, committed to this sooner.
Sometimes I think in Jets, if we don't have other pieces of the future go mode, if we don't have a trigger, we don't have a clone, sometimes there's some hesitation to go there if, you know, we don't know that other go mode pieces will be there, you know, or that will lead to the Black Omen. You know, because again, you said the prison sequence doesn't really get you anything other than access to the future. So delaying that, you know, can end up being a little bit of a habit of, if I don't have anything else that's drawing me to the future, or I'm not forced to go to the future, I might wait and see if I can get one of the other two go modes.
Totally understandable. What does Nate do? Okay, I thought Nate was going to do the race for a second.
Pretty interesting. There are some special flags that are not in use that I believe the race will give you a key item, but no, it looks like they are using these mutants as a little bit of a grind spot.
I guess that makes sense, because there's no... Black Omen has plenty of XP and tech points, but there's no repeatable grind spot as far as I'm aware.
That's correct. Another option I've seen Nate take in, you know, previous tournaments or previous races is doing the Genodome conveyor belt and a few things through Genodome. There's lots of XP through that way. This might be a little bit more repeatable, easier to, you know, kind of select how far you want to go. If you have to do the conveyor in Genodome, you have to do the entire conveyor.
But if your goal is to grind out XP, it's not the end of the world.
It's not a lot of TP, but, you know, the XP is probably more than going to make up for it. So Nate is ready to go to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if they do any other preparations before they head into the Omen.
Yep, and Nate is going to collect his mid-ethers from rescuing Fritz. So if one free Fritz is in chat, just know you got saved and you got cashed out. Or you cashed out, whatever. Okay, Nate doing some obligatory shopping, setting up his final party here.
Some obligatory petting the cat.
He did pet the cat?
I do believe there has
Oh,
been
yeah, you're right. I missed it.
a pet cat sighting. So as we say in Jets, in order to validate your run, you must go pet Chrono's cat. It deserves it.
Yeah, that is the hardest working cat in the tournament. Yeah, Nate learning his lesson about not petting the cat. Although I say that, I can't remember if he did or not in the previous race.
Magus learned Black Hole, so that can be useful for non-elemental damage. Oh, and then he switched Magus to the front of the party. This can work for some goon fights and some other things that um, absorb shadow damage or lightning damage. Bone also freeing Fritz. We have 2 free Fritzes.
We should add that to the tracker. Just to show off the morality of the players, you know, when you're looking back at the VODs.
I think there's a lot of things that could be added to the tracker. It'd get pretty cluttered though. Oh, these goons have 1,000 HP, I believe, so Kagus is just doing under that limit. Have you seen some of the Link to the Past randomizer trackers? Yeah, I should probably keep it in perspective.
Yeah, it could be, we could go bigger. And Moose Lord pointing out there is an empty spot next to the cat. That'd be a great spot for Fritz to go.
So Nate continuing to press through the Omen. These panels are dropping full ethers. Very good for boosting your consumables at this point.
Honestly, with 2 gold studs, this might just be shop fodder if you see something you want to buy too.
Yeah, a lot of time you wouldn't sell a full ether unless you are, if you have an embarrassment of riches. But sometimes, you know, you might, because that's gonna give you quite a lot of money. Phone working through his Dalton Plus. It'll be interesting to think of, is there anything Nate could run into that could set him back at this point to where Phone could catch up. Now, Nate also got very fortunate in that the check he did in the future, the Sun Palace, turned out to be the right one. But when we get to the future, we'll see what Phone's check is. He may decide to do something longer, like Genodome, you know, going for a gamble. You know, or it may go to Aristome, which we don't know what's there.
Although, there's really not much else that could change Phone's routing. I guess, no, you get a sword piece or a gate key would present him with some options that tear him away from the Sun Palace. But this late in the seed, I don't see anyone not stopping at Sun Palace just to see what's there.
You know, it's a good one to check, because if you're lucky, you may just get a Golem boss, which essentially makes it a free check. The other thing that Nate did too, that set him up well, was check the Protodome and got Magus in his party. So if Phone for some reason decides not to check Protodome, he's also going to continue to operate with a low magic team.
Which is not the end of the world, but Nate's party is definitely going to be full clearing a lot more efficiently.
Nate showing off some nice skips too. Here in Black Omen, avoiding fights through all of these hallways. And this is good gear in the Omen, so you know, he's only adding to his strong party at this point.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I don't know. I haven't seen his levels, but I'm surprised he's skipping all of them. Whereas, like, I would want to have a little more level security, knowing there's a limited number of experience attack points going through. Oh, phone reset out of Son of Sun. He saw that
Yeah,
mutant
he's
and did not want to
reset
deal with it.
because he still does not have Magus.
Oh,
Now
wait.
let's see if he changes that after he comes and picks him up. Nate continuing to shop, trying to figure out everything he can sell. There's mega elixirs in this shop.
Sold everything to get 2 mega elixirs. You know, it's a good play.
His level's right now at 24. It's definitely something that, you know, if there's places to optimize in jets, might be one of them, is to kind of know, you know, what's my minimum required to go through Omen, or to go, you know, to fight. You know, Zeal 2, we usually like to be at, you know, 30 to 32. 30 is probably a little low, you know, 32. Lavos, we like to be at 32, 33, you know, for a final level. But trying to get that figured out as far as what you should start the Omen with, or what you should take along the way, probably is something that could use some optimization. Some people probably have a better feel for it than others. There's nothing necessarily like said in the meta that says, you know, don't do the Omen unless you're this level, or don't do you know, other parts of the game unless you're at this level.
All comes down to what the runner's comfortable with. And their team, and their gear. There's, like you said, the answer is always, it depends.
Phone coming back to Sun Palace, taking care of the Giga Mutant. They'll go through this fight, and then they'll just be following Nate at this point. And this is sort of where the other race, you know, was very similar, in that Phone got the Go mode pieces more efficiently and went through Magus Castle. Nate couldn't really catch, you know, from that point of view. Now in this one, Nate has the Black Omen Go mode pieces, and you know, Phone's going to be needing something in order to catch up.
Yep, and I did finally switch the sound over to phone, or to Nate, because it's clearly in the lead.
Well, this is a fun little trick he's doing, is by walking against those eyeballs, you can increase the animation time and get them to shut their eyes, essentially, and get that skip.
So basically interacting with them, so to speak, will make their animation speed up?
Yes. And these are both very seasoned runners, so they're making this look easy. There's a lot of pieces in here, you know, that are almost unseen because they're making it unseen. Nate picked up a rainbow gun, looked like, for Luca as part of the gear rando. rolling the rainbow effect on a gun, but unfortunately, our process of elimination has said Luca is hanging out on the dactyl nest, and we never found the gate key.
She would hate living in that time with no technology, or speed up development of civilization by literal millions of years. As long as they don't stone her for being a witch.
Nate is coming up on the, in vanilla, it's the Giga Mutant spot. Here we're going to see a Retinite.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is going to be much trouble for Nate. He has Ice 2, so he can lower the defense, and then can use Drop Kick as a strong physical to take out the pieces.
But Nate is stopping the charm. Getting a bow from Mara. And the shop is well behind him, so it's virtually useless.
Phone collecting is mid-ethers from Fritz. Thank you, Fritz.
Yep, and that is one free Fritz as a member of our community. Thank him for the ethers.
Maybe they'll temporarily rename themselves 2 free Fritzes.
If only. I'd say a lot of the runners in general tend to be relatively cruel to Fritz. Like, you don't see a double free Fritz that often. Usually 1 or 0.
I'm not gonna lie, I have been cruel to Fritz in the past.
Did you win those races?
Sometimes. But I don't know that it ever really came down to saving or executing a Fritz.
Yeah, I think it's roughly, what, I'm gonna say 13.5 seconds to save Fritz versus not.
Okay, Nate is almost done with Red Knight here.
Those pieces are pretty resilient, especially in this spot with, I want to say 8k HP? Oh, but there's 3 parts, so it's split.
I think it's higher than that. I think it may be up to 11, but again, split between the pieces, so it probably something like 5, and 1 for the core, or 1200 for the core or so. Now, defeating the core also makes sure you get the full amount of tech points, so 200 tech points, and 5,000 XP. So these bosses in Omen are huge in advancing your levels and techs. So again, kind of keeping eye on this on Nate's levels here. So they got level 26 following that spot.
He's definitely gonna be at the low end.
Is, once you get to the top of the elevator here, there's really no additional fights you can take. Once you take the fights up here, yeah, there, like you said earlier, there's no grind spot. I think I calculated it out once that from this point, from the top of the elevator forward, it's 666 tech points. So if you're looking for a last tech, and you're further than 666 away, don't ask me how it got to be that exact number, you're not going to get it by the time you face Zeal 2.
It's because it's the Black Omen, it's the Harbinger of Doom. Makes sense it would be the number of the beast.
Somebody must have done that on purpose. Maybe.
I wouldn't put past Square Enix, they're funny like that. I guess at the time this was just Squaresoft. Oh, and Muso pointing out there is the tech point glitch where whenever you learn a tech, you double the amount of tech points that got you that tech. So if you can do it on something like Retinite with the 200 tech points, you'll actually get 400 from that. Specifically on the character that learned a tech from that fight.
Right. Jets runs on, I mean, we're clearly running this, you know, as a modded game. It's based off the vanilla, you know, SNES version. So there's a lot of overlap between things in the vanilla run or things that are, you know, in the vanilla base game, you know, and that are still features of Jets of Time. So that tech doubling being one of them. You know, some of these vanilla skips make their way into the skips people do for Jets. So you can also learn a lot just by watching vanilla speedruns. We'll see if Nate tries to do this little bat skip here. And he got it.
Nate's movement has been optimal this whole run, I think.
Now those goons are worth good XP and TP, so a lot of times I'm not sad if I miss the skip. You know, kind of YOLO it if you don't get it.
Yeah, Nate forgetting the upstairs absorb shadow though.
But where things absorb shadow, dropkick is effective.
Yeah, and those numbers are pretty solid. 2400. Oh, and Nate gets Dino Tail. So, won't that even be useful in the rest of this fight?
Probably not in this boss gauntlet. That is effective for, in the other Go modes, the elevator fight in the Ocean Palace. Probably not going to see it used to its full extent here.
Yeah, and Phone finally unlocked the Black Omen. Looks like if you run straight into it, will be about. I believe someone said in chat it was like Nate ran in at an hour and change.
Right, so I think we, you know, Nate's nursing a 18 and a half minute lead by the time Phone starts. Now this could be a surprisingly difficult fight here for Nate. Mother Brain has incredibly high speed, and these panels around her can be very annoying.
We're gonna heal her up. But if you take all of them out, she will go berserk and do some serious AoEs. That's one of the things I love about this game is they teach you how to handle certain bosses with multiple parts early, and then towards the end of the game they change all the rules on you. So whereas before you might want to take out the quote-unquote minion parts, in this fight you need to leave one alive or else you will get cleaned.
Bone deciding to run away from the goons. I'm wondering if they're trying to make up time. So...
yeah, Bone does have more levels going into here than Nate did. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm, you know, relatively certain they're sitting at a higher level Not currently, but based on when Nate got in here.
Nate's gonna take this methodically, get the drop kicks in, make sure we don't target that remaining screen. Now, even so, that remaining screen is healing Mother Brain for more than 600 HP, so you feel a little bit like you got a leaky bucket of, you know, for every time you do some big damage, they also do some healing back at you.
Yeah.
Tech not used a lot, you know, but this works for an AoE heal is Slurp Kiss. And Lapis is rolled pretty low, so I think they only rolled at 140 for an all-party heal. That's not very useful. So Slurp Kiss is about the best all-party heal he's got. Kiss also cures status effect, so Slurp Kiss is a de facto all status heal as well.
So it's like Asuna and Lapis had a baby.
What would they call that baby?
Slurp Kiss.
I should have known.
Yeah. Chat bringing up that Robo probably would have been a little more useful to bring to the end game here. If you got the heal beam in time. Then you could just have Magus and Ayla doing single techs by themselves and Robo on heal bot duty. With respectable damage too, with his own single techs, or double techs with Ayla.
After Ayla and Frog go down, Nate uses a black hole to win it. Now, other changes from vanilla for Jets is that black hole does non-elemental damage, and it has the Doom effect added to it. So instead of disappearing into oblivion, we actually have a damage amount attached to it. But as characters are down, if one character is down, it'll do 2x damage, and if 2 characters are down, it'll do 3x damage. So that last hit for Nate was a 3x hit with Ayla and Frog both being down. Now they did lose out on those levels because of being down for the fight. So now there's a little bit of gap between his Magus being level 30 and Ayla and Frog being, looks like 28. I still think this is a little bit low for levels. Going into a Zeal fight, but you know, with multiple mega elixirs, it seems like Nate's still in a solid position. And this fight, you know, now being a Tropos, I don't think is going to give him any trouble. We're just going to Dark Matter, we're just going to Drop Kick. Looks like he even is going to throw in a Charm just for good measure.
An Aeon Helm. Term? Okay. Does Aeon Helm have status protection?
No.
Okay.
Earlier in the Omen, I did see some Rainbow Helms get picked up. Those might actually be better for going into a Zeal fight, because that reduces lightning damage. And those Skygate attacks for Zeal 2 are lightning based, so that might actually be a useful helm to have equipped if nothing else.
Makes sense. Yeah, we're not worried about statuses on the Omen like we are in Ocean Paliscope mode. There's no obstacle. If there's no obstacle, is a AoE status attack that every seed has a different effect, and if it's something like stop, it can really put a stop to your run without any status protection.
Even other status effects like slow can be very detrimental because speed is the most important stat in the game. If you're losing turns to an enemy, you can be put in a bad spot very, very quickly. Now this team doesn't really have a problem with speed. Ayla starts at 13, Magus starts at 12, Frog I think starts at 11. Plus with the speed tabs we've gotten along the way, speed isn't a problem for this party.
Yeah, but I don't think I saw our runners commit any speed tabs to anyone. I probably just missed it, but yeah.
I think it happened quickly, but I do think the runners have done it.
Okay.
Getting some of our last levels in techs, just in case we need Cat Attack and Dark Bomb. Dark Bomb's actually not such a bad one for Zeal 2 that Magus has an attack because Black Hole, the area of effect for that is just a little bit too wide and will hit the Zeal hands, which you don't want to counterattack you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going into the final menu for Nate. Go ahead and use an Omega rather than heal up the slow way, or maybe he was just out of shelters.
It's still a pretty rich thing to do. But Nate still has, what, 2 Mega Elixirs in the back pocket?
Has 2.
Yeah, that's one more than you technically need.
So Nate, starting with the Dark Matter, we get the Halation, takes us down to 1 HP. There's really nothing else to worry about for this fight. You'll just, any further attacks with Halation will do no more damage. So we're really just getting through this, 5,000 damage, and then we're on to the Mammon Machine.
Then we're just a hop, skip, and a jump to Zeal 2. Like I said earlier, it's Nate's race to lose. We said he officially had about a basically 19-minute lead on phone based on when he entered the Omen. And phone is making good progress, but yeah.
Yep, there is a chance here for the menu glitch. There's a couple frame window that you can enter the menu between Zeal 1 and the Mammon Machine. Nate using it to get characters back to full health. Putting the blue mail on Frog. So if we get to Zeal 2, and if you don't do half their HP, their part of their script will be to do Hexagon Mist. So that could be a party wipe, but with the blue mail, that'll keep at least Frog alive. Nate choosing to wait the first part of Mammon Machine, and once it releases the energy, then he can go ahead and attack without it doing the modifying the energy, adding to its attack, or raising its defense with physical attacks. So he, depending on if he's doing damage fast enough, he may get a few point flares.
Yeah, but Nate's damage is really high. should be doable without any big issues. As Frog goes down, I jinxed it. Does not have a lot of revives. This is a little dangerous.
So luckily that second point flare on Magus with a red absorb. And we're on to Zeal 2. So revives, lapises, and the tonic suite all roll separately in the item healing rando. Revives look like they only rolled about a vanilla 50. And nobody in this party has a life spell on their own. Phone at the top of the elevator, continuing to do their best to catch up. So what we want to see from Nate here is get through about half the damage. Zeal has 20,000 HP. We'll know when we hit the halfway point because we'll get a halation. So that's their goal right now, is to cause as much damage before that hexagon mist goes off.
I may take a little time to set up some protects, I want to say is the green glow.
The setting up barriers.
Barrier, oh, for magic. That makes more sense.
If we're gonna, he may be worried about that hexagon mist. But even though Frog has a blue mail on, if you're left with only Frog standing, could get into a heal cycle, and that could be dangerous. So he's going to use those barriers, play defense, try and get that, that script move to the second part. So the dark gear comes out, shadow damage, and now we're down 2 characters.
That is not a great start. And from Nate's point of view, he does not know if his opponent is ahead at this point. For all he knows, Bone is in this fight with him.
And that is a wipe for Nate. So, the dark gear came out, took out Alien Frog, and then the hexagon mist followed it up, and he was out. Unfortunate, but I've been saying Phone needs something in order to catch up, and we know both of these teams are running a little low on levels, and we'll see if how Nate makes adjustments going through this again. I think he did the right things. It just turned out in a unfortunate pattern.
Yeah, the lava, or not lavas, Zeal 2 can be a fickle mistress.
Part of this is the hits with the hands. If it does a couple hits before dark gear or hexagon mist comes out, then you're already running low HP. It's not really easy to take a hit from the hands and then get an AoE on top of that. So this is getting closer as Bone continues to run through essentially what right now is the boss gauntlet. the start of it.
Yep, we'll see how well Phone gets through that. And at least Phone has 7 revives to Nate's 3.
Nate taking the same strat, waiting for the energy blast to come out, and then we lay the damage on.
Guess not much to this point other than power through.
And Phone has the breakdown of Mother Brain, so one boss closer to making this even. Slight difference here is Phone finished the Mother Brain fight with both Frog and Ayla standing, so he's going to get the benefit of those XP TP from that fight. He's still 28 on Magus, 28-27. So again, this is just a little bit slim on levels.
Alright, Zeal 2 for the second time. Let's see if Nate learned his lesson as Phone is getting there after his fight.
Both runners might be peeking that race room, and if you don't see it, that finish from the other team, from the other player, you're just, continuing to move forward. I'm going to move forward as long as I can. Nate setting up his barriers again, in between drop kicks. Now, because Zeal 2 does so many different type of elemental attacks, it's sometimes hard to know, which one do I want to protect from? Do I want to protect from the lightning for the sky gates? Do I want to protect from shadow for dark gear? Do I want to protect from blue for hexagon mist? So, that can make this difficult in trying to know where do I put my defense, because if you get into all those different variations, nothing's going to stop everything. Nate really wanting to get in. One more drop kick. This might push it to phase 2. Halation. So he's made it to phase 2. The halation comes out. He's got a mega ready for it. There will be a MP buster on the center character, on the character in the first slot, in the center of the formation. but the worst of it feels like it's over. Another drop kick, keeping Ayla and Frog's health up. They're the ones carrying the rest of this fight. I think we need one more.
Are we getting close?
Nate, you can do it. Come on, Nate. And that's it.
That's it. There we
GG's.
go. GG's. The 140. Oh, I'm gonna get the official race room time. 140.41. Okay, hopefully we can get him here for a chat, but that means we are getting a game 3. So exciting. Phone made remarkable progress, though, catching up all the way to the man machine.
Yeah, I think when you have players this good, one of your worries is that anytime you wipe or anytime you make a mistake, that'll be taken advantage of by the other player. And Phone made quite a good amount of progress on catching up. It just wasn't enough based off of the other parts of the seed that really blocked progression.
Yeah, if Phone had seen Hecarim and Giant's Claw and just reset there instead of getting it, might have had a chance. Like, granted, just we know from up high of a perch in commentator land that future is just a play, and you should just went future. But you gotta make do with whatever decision you make and run with it.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda were sisters, and they never did play Jets of Time either.
Yeah, exactly. Is Nate coming in? Do you think? We heard from him.
See if we can. Phone taking their turn while we see if Nate's available.
Yep. I think Phone's fight will definitely go smoother and probably get through this in one try. Yeah, 140. I'm gonna say Phone ends at maybe 147, which means they brought back about 12 minutes-ish. That is really good progress. Really good catch-up game. Oh. We do have Nate in chat now. GG's.
GG's. What's up?
Are you excited to have a game 3?
Yes, I'm beyond excited. I don't know about everybody else.
I mean, for just a time, I was hoping for this the whole, ever since game 2 started.
Me too. I'm very excited for this game 3. I was hoping for it, so more actiony stuff going on.
So, what were your
Definitely
thoughts on the seed?
Oh,
There was a lot of interesting parts.
Yeah, the most interesting was definitely Hecarim Cave. I just was not dealing with that, and I decided to, for once in my life, just book it out of there. And I felt awful doing that, but it would have taken forever, in my opinion.
The funny part
Yeah,
is, Phone was in there at the same time and made the same call. You both backed out of Hecarim.
Yeah, there were a couple spots that was really interesting that you were very side by side. But the biggest difference was that you went to the future earlier, and Bone decided to do the Giant's Claw, which turned out to be Hecarim in the back of the Giant's Claw.
Huh.
And he
A
spent
little
a
Which
good,
is
too vanilla.
also a
like, 5
unfortunate
minutes
boss.
just pounding him with Lightning 1.
Yep. 167 damage at a
Oh,
time.
oh man, it's awful to think about. Honestly. Oof.
So yeah, he may have some nightmares, of a blue monster tonight.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna have nightmares about it too. Like seeing a mutant that early, and only having laser spin and lightning at that moment. That's definitely some nightmare fuel right there. Don't really have too much to work with, and at that point, I think we only had. Well, I mean, I only had. It was that. There's Denadoro and I think Desert. Yeah, and I gambled on Desert, hoping the boss there would be nice to me there. And I mean, I'll take Son of Sun any day, especially with that red vest. I think I found one before then, but
So were you nervous going into Zeal 2 about levels or techs or anything in particular? You did have one wipe.
yeah. Um, I won't lie. I I thought it was over. Whenever I wiped, I was just like, oh man, like because Phone is such a really good player. I had a hunch that he was hanging right on behind me, and that with that wipe, it, I just told myself to play a little more defensively, so that's why I threw out my mega elixirs. Um, but the team comp, I kind of was considering Robo, like swapping him in instead of Magus, but I wasn't sure how the heal beams were doing. We had the Slurpee heals too, which was pretty nice to have.
Yeah, so neither runner thought it was important enough to go to the end of time or to clear factory. So, that
Mm,
did limit what Frog was able to do since he had no heal. Um, Heal beam would have been okay from Robo, but it was interesting as well that, both players had the same party composition. And that happened last race as well, that you both used the same party comp. So here again, once Bone got to the future, he didn't pick up Magus first, but eventually did, to get the go mode at the Sun Palace. Um,
Hmm.
and then both players used Frog and Alia as their seconds to Magus, with Dropkick, which was fantastic. Um, but did you ever consider going to future or
Man,
going to the end of time?
it was it was definitely at the back of my head. However, figuring, I mean, dropkick is a pretty nasty physical tech, and just kind of banking on that's what was going to carry me throughout, like Black Omen, and I find a Magus in the dome was a pretty good sign of relief, just to the fact that he has Black Hole and has a quick text or speed as well. So taking out the goons, like it was kind of funny. I just kind of sighed to myself whenever the first the first mob of them, it did like 999 damage, and I was just like, oh, that's great. They're gonna iron ore me for sure. Magus was a sweet find though. It definitely helped with Sun Palace. I think that was another mutant there, a Giga one. I can't even remember.
Yes, it was
Yes.
Giga at Sun, Terra at
Mm,
Hecarim.
go figure. And I like almost went back to Hecker Cave since I found Magus, but I figured since I was already there and Sun Palace is just kind of like calling me just to go hang out there for a second. Yeah, I was honestly really surprised that, the clone was hanging out there the whole time. Since the beginning of this seed, it felt like you wanted to have like Marl since it had the prism and the Moonstone pretty early on, and I was kind of hoping that she was hanging out there. But when that happened, I was just like, well, I mean, can't be that important then, like prism shard and all that fun stuff. But where was the Thomas Pop at?
It was in the burrow. Did you ever check your turn your hero
Wait
medal
a
in?
s Oh no, I forgot. Oops, I
I,
forgot.
and
Oopsie.
and Marl was the burrow character.
Okay.
So we never did get the gate key. Um, Nobody ever found that. So we, you know, through process of elimination, we know Luca's up on Dactyl Nest. Um, and through a peek check, we did know that uh, Ruby Knife was behind the Prism Shard, but of course, in order to get that, you would have had to have both sword pieces, get Marl out of the burrow, and then do the King's Trial. It would have been
That,
um, a bit buried.
yeah, it sounds like a great time too. Um, but no, the beginning was honestly kind of stressful just with the text that we were dealing with, and I'm sure phone felt that a little bit too. Chrono with Cyclone Life and Lightning isn't exactly what you're really wanting to see, and Robos. I mean, Laser Spin is better than nothing. Uh, It's just not really going to get you through anything. Like,
True.
yeah, and that that was definitely a seed. Zeal to stressing me out as usual. Um, yeah, that was pretty. That was something with that hexagon and then the dark gear, and I'm just like, oh brother, it just mega. But it worked. It worked.
So, are there any last strategies you think you'll do, or you practice, or you're looking forward to for the next match, or
Oh,
are you hoping for a fast one where you get Magus Go mode like last time, or are you
Oh,
hoping for a little more of a puzzle like this one was?
uh, another puzzle would be pretty cool. Um, and man, anything but an early go mode. That I don't want that. Other than that, very very amped up for this game 3 coming up. It's gonna be exciting, in my opinion.
You don't
Okay.
want an early go mode, just immediate grinding and hoping your counterpart doesn't get it that quick either.
Yeah, and we're gonna go into lavas with some high tunics and some caps too while we're at it. And that's
Well, that sounds
man,
like a Lost World seed almost.
it does sound Lost Worldsies. Man, uh, that would be something. Honestly, whatever whoever rules the seed decides to throw at us, um, I'll just be like, we just gotta sludge through it. Gotta do what we gotta do.
Yep,
But
I
that was
think
fun.
this one was a sludge, knowing that
Yeah.
the
You
techs
can
were what they were and the bosses were what they were.
you can blame Fritz for that. He rolled the seed.
Oh, I know. Nah, it's as long as everybody else thought that it was fun to watch and enjoyed uh, all the stresses and all that came with it. That's all that matters. That we all had a good time with it.
Well, I think that'll about wrap us up for the evening. Then, game 3 will be scheduled at some point. Um, but that will be the rubber match, and that will decide the winner of this tournament. So we're all looking forward to it, and good luck. Good luck to Phone as well. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, thank you so much to both of you and just everybody involved with the restreaming team. It's really appreciated for what everyone does.
Yeah, always glad to see a fun race into a tournament. Thank you for making it interesting.
Yeah, hey, anytime, anytime.
Mhm. Well, if that's all, I think we need to say goodnight because it is 1:30 for me on the East Coast. But congrats to Nate. Um, hope you all have a lovely evening and sweet dreams. Green dreams, sorry.